Welcome back to Week in One. I'm Masukora Hlacha. Child Protection Week has once again put the spotlight on the vulnerability of children. This week, eNCA focused on the welfare of children, especially in high-risk areas where gang violence is prevalent. eNCA's Ronald Masinda compiled this report.
Many families on the Cape Flats say they are still seeking justice after their children lost their lives in the hands of those involved in alleged gang violence.
That is one of my questions I also want to ask, but when we were in court on the 23rd, and then the case was postponed on 2023, the 6th of February, until March 23rd. And we asked, and then they said there's a backlog of cases.
It's still hard. It's a year ago that they shot them here, and they can't find anybody, so it's very hard for us, and we want somebody to come out and say that he did it, because that was very, very cruel to kill a child like that. They shot 4 children that night, and it wasn't fair.
Some say they are willing to do anything to protect their own children, even if it means walking around with their own weapons.
I have to walk with an axe to protect myself and my child. So I am challenging Becky Kelly to come out to Tafelsig. Stop running to other places where your own house isn't clean, because we need his help. These police don't care.
Community members here in Parkwood in Cape Town took matters into their own hands on Tuesday, killing a man allegedly involved in kidnappings in the area.
Some people say he was an Uber driver, other people say he was trying to hijack a young child. The end result is we had a brutal murder here. Sadly, what people need to understand is that this is the Cape Flats. Here people handle issues with violence.
So how it affects the children, so one of the main things, they become withdrawn. They tend to act out, and it becomes difficult for the place where they have to go to during the day, and that is at school.
And while many children on the Cape Flats are vulnerable to crime, many families say they will do whatever it takes to protect their own. Ronald Masinda, Cape Town.
There's uncertainty over illegal immigration matters, according to Deputy Justice Minister John Jeffrey. He says while visiting Diepsloot, he discovered that most undocumented foreign nationals weren't deported after being arrested. eNCA's Puleli Chwiti Jones was there and filed this report.
2 months later, and the issues of high crime and undocumented foreign nationals living in Diepsloot are still a problem. Previously, Police Minister Payukele said they'd do everything to fight crime in the area. Now, the Justice Department says it's setting up court facilities in Diepsloot Police Station to deal with maintenance applications and domestic violence cases from July. The government has, however, admitted that there's been a challenge with the prosecution of undocumented immigrants.
From the earlier briefing I've got, there seems to be some legal confusions, let me put it that way, in terms of illegal immigrants that are arrested and brought to court. And that is something that I've already said I want to engage with the NPA and the Chief Magistrate after this, probably next week, because it seems there's a fair amount of legal uncertainty relating to the treatment of illegal immigrants. The issue is from what I've heard, is that illegal immigrants that are being arrested for being illegal immigrants are not facing deportation after they have appeared in court. So that's the issue that we want to go into in more detail.
The remarks caught some residents by surprise. Others say police need to act urgently to fight crime in Diepsloot.
This dialogue will never help us because they are repeating to communicate with the real community leaders. Go there, go and get the statistics of the people that are in that hall. You may find that 70% are the people who are well informed. But the real people that are not basically informed or need to be empowered in terms of illegal immigrant or what's happening in the country, they are on the field. So I'm saying if this is a good program, it's a real good program, it's fine. Let it be the start. But take it, escalate it to street, door to door, block to block, extension to extension, and cover the whole area, and people be empowered.
Diepsloot residents are hoping for fewer promises and more action to fight crime. Pule Ishiti Jones, Diepsloot.
The need for an affordable and reliable public transport system has never been more pivotal to the country after this week's fuel hike. Minister Fikile Mbalula has been engaging with rail stakeholders on the white paper plans for the sector that has been approved by Cabinet. eNCA's Linda Xulu has more.
Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula has welcomed the buy-in of the private sector on the department's white paper policy document. The policy seeks to enable stakeholders to be able to operate passenger railway services in the country's railway network as a bid to revitalize the sector.
Most welcome intervention. The Achilles heel is going to be implementation. We've got a plan of action in terms of medium to long term. Long term, we're going to have to deal with the question of rail bill, intervention, master plan, but of immediate, it's a question of working with the private sector to open up the old branch lines.
The engagement was in a form of a panel and a dialogue where many from the private sector put the policy proposals under scrutiny, while at the end of the day, they received a general kudos. Some say the document is just the beginning and have requested for clarity on private sector involvement.
You want to have clarity as to how the private sector capital will be spent in the sector in order to be able to invest in the rail network and the rolling stock that's required, and how that will be amortized over time.
The city of Cape Town, which was at the forefront of asking government to allow municipalities to run their own railway systems, has welcomed the proposals made by the policy.
Cape Town is in a very critical situation in terms of rail. And the fundamentals of the policy are wonderful. The city tried many years ago to get to the point where we could have this discussion in terms of devolution and greater management of rail, passenger rail, certainly in the municipal area. And only now the appetite seems to be at national government level to have a conversation meaningfully. And we're very grateful and we welcome that.
While Thursday was all about the rehabilitation and revitalization of the railway sector, some used the opportunity to call for a focus on other modes of transport, such as buses and the taxi industry. This to create a multi-pronged transport industry that will be affordable and efficient for commuters. Linda Xulu, Kempton Park.
Well, that's a wrap for us at Weekend 1. From myself, Masego Ratlaga, and the team, stay safe and see you next weekend.